Hey everybody, on this episode of the Timeless After Show, we're breaking down Season 1, Episode 9, The Last Ride of Bonnie and Clyde. It took 130 bullets to put down this dynamic duo. Let's see if it takes that many to knock us out. Really? That's terrible. Oh my God.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh my word.
Every time?
Yes.
Oh, and you know what? The song choice is great. It says you're tearing me up. It works with the song.
There you go. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I'm tearing these intros up, guys.
Yes,
How's your
Doing
chair
it.
tonight?
Yes, doing like a clinic. Doing a clinic on these. Hey everybody, welcome to the Timeless After Show. We're breaking down Bonnie and Clyde's great debut on Timeless. Whoo-wee. All right. Good times already. This has turned out to be a really good episode so far, guys. We're going to be breaking down this episode, though, and I'm one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie.
And I'm Alexis Torres. You can find me all over the internet at atorres890.
Sorry, I'm just jamming to the song. I was like, oh,
very
don't you
nice.
love it when you find a song you really like it? So,
Yeah,
anyway,
I like it.
My name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane.
Yes. Be careful, because she hits.
Yeah.
She hit me because I was singing along with the song, but that's all right.
No, he was trying. They were trying to listen to it and like.
It's okay. It's okay, Carrie.
Lord.
I'm Chris Howard. You can reach me at Chris Howard Live on both Twitter and Instagram, and I'm excited to be here with this wonderful panel here tonight.
Oh my goodness, we will pay you later, Chris Howard, for
Thanks.
saying such kind of things.
I wish.
Yes.
As
Now,
if.
you know, Chris doesn't have to be the only one saying nice things about us. If you want, you can like us on Facebook. You can go to those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Of course, Alexis has got her computer out there. Carrie's got her phone. They've got the chat up and running. So if you want to share any thoughts about this episode or the series in general, feel free to do so. We'd love to hear your feedback while we're breaking down an episode. And in fact, let's just jump right into The Last Ride of Bonnie and Clyde.
I also want to apologize to the iTunes listeners and video listeners. I will be coughing a butt ton because
butt ton?
I
Butt
have a tickle in my throat because I was getting over a cold. So I apologize.
All right.
How much is a butt ton anyway?
It's quite big, like a Nicki Minaj butt ton.
Oh,
Whoa! That is...
Thank you. Thank you.
And we wouldn't be complete without James in the booth. Thank you so much,
Thank
James.
you.
Hi.
So before we get started, Bonnie and Clyde, were you guys? Did you know a lot about this
I did.
dangerous
How
duo?
did you know that?
Well, no, because that's a terrible thing to say as a 12-year-old, but I was obsessed with these two. I thought that their love's... Well, okay. It's... I guess because I'm also a Harley and Joker fan, that it kind of worked with it. Someone was like, oh yeah, Harley and Joker, like Bonnie and Clyde, and I was 12 years old, and I was like, who are they? Tell me the things. And so I looked it up on the trusty AOL search internet back in the day, and looked up as much as I could about Bonnie and Clyde. Went to the library, I looked it up, and I was kind of obsessed for like
You
a
were
good
obsessed.
2 years about it, and then it just kind of dropped off.
So did you get your 130 bullet stat from her, or is that...
Oh, they said it in the episode.
We did.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must have been tweeting.
The dangers of Chris tweeting and watching Timeless in real time. It's always
Yeah.
a
You
great
should,
combination.
you should just live tweet the show while you're tweeting. Oh my word.
Certainly, my only exposure was the film with Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway. And Gene Hackman as well.
I liked that movie.
I'd say mine is just what general pop culture they've been a part of and stories. So I didn't know specifics or anything.
I thought the actors played really well.
Oh,
in
I
this
did.
episode.
love
They
them.
did
They
their
were so
research.
good.
The gal.
No,
Yeah.
the ladies
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
good.
She was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She was awesome.
Loved your accent and
Yeah.
just their chemistry together and like
Just
their
the-
energy.
yeah.
No, they hit it on the nail because Bonnie was the one that kind of started the whole thing. That's kind of like how she was. Like, if you look at the Wikipedia page or anything, it always starts with Bonnie first, and then Clyde.
No
and like
kidding.
apparently, because nobody actually like really witnessed their first meeting, so there's a bunch of different versions of that story. But apparently, they instantly fell in love, like instantly smitten at like a friend's.
And she was really
party.
married.
Oh yeah.
She was married to somebody
No,
else.
yeah, she was married to somebody.
Huh.
And they
Then
just,
was it a obviously not as good of a marriage, but
No, I don't think the
Was
marriage
it-
was good at all.
Okay.
I think, according to what I've read back in the
Previous
day.
book.
now
But yeah.
Miss Historian on them. How long were they together before they died? I didn't quite get that sense.
See, that's the problem. Is I've heard so many different stuff because they
Oh,
met.
well, if they don't know when they first got together, but
Well,
roughly.
according to them, there was a party that they went to in 1930, and then they
Okay.
died in 1934.
they
So
got
I'm
like
assuming
a
like
pretty
4
long
years
run,
of
yeah.
being
That's
a good
together.
run.
Yeah.
All right.
it's about.
That's a good run. Man.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, some
Hey,
Well,
for
it
any
wasn't like they
crime
had 6
couple-
months and then they got murdered. You
Right.
know?
No,
Exactly.
Because I think the grapevine which they talked about was I think 1934,
Oh, yeah.
1933 or something like that. So, because that robbery was where it kind of just really made them famous. I think at that point.
Did we like their telling of how they met and
Yes.
came together?
Yes, because again, it's really funky. Because like I said, even Wikipedia and some of them, it's only like a paragraph. Like
Yeah.
apparently, Bonnie was making. Was it Bonnie? Yeah, Bonnie was making hot chocolate in her friend's kitchen, and they came over or something like that, and then that's how they met. Like met eyes, and just there was some sort of spark that caused them to talk to each other, and then they didn't want to stop
Look at that.
talking
Cool.
to each other.
Alexis, our resident Lucy on this show.
Yeah.
Now, as we've always talked about on the show, like sometimes we start where we get to see history unfold as it did, and sometimes we see that it changes. This one we do get to see how it kind of proceeded, and then we go back and we actually disrupt what was the actual ending to the Bonnie and Clyde story.
And the coolest part is when you look in Wikipedia now, it's actually changed as well.
There you go, because Timeless is a real show, folks.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a real. Yeah,
I kind of
it's
lose it
happened in real
sometimes.
events.
I
Yep.
dip in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we see them May 23rd, 1934. They do stop to help somebody that's pulled over on the side of the road, but it is a trap, of course, set up by Frank Haim, and they riddle him with 130 bullets. They
Yep.
get rid of Bonnie and Clyde.
Because Henry, I think it was Clyde's brother or cousin or something.
was-
Oh, he was
part
actually
of the
relative.
gang.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was part of the gang, and he ratted them out.
we
to save
ever-
his own neck.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Just
Yeah.
And it sounded like he was the one who really started the murder spree.
Yes, he is a
According to-
psychopath.
Yeah.
Correct.
So there you go. He gets those people going, and then says, you know what, maybe I want to get out.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not that crazy. I still want to live.
Right. No, but that's weird that he would start it and he'd be the one that was given leniency in some way.
Yeah.
Now, in an episode that talks a lot about love and who you're meant to be with, we start off, since the timeline has changed, Lucy now has lost a sister but has gained a fiance. And
Ooh, that dinner was weird.
yes.
It threw me
So
off. I thought it
weird.
was a flashback, and I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense because that's not her past. So what's
But
happening?
if you lost a sister and gained a guy, would you just take the guy or would you say?
Well, I don't
Well,
know.
she has to get
sister
to
back.
know him, which she's.
Right.
I give her
She's
credit.
trying.
She's trying.
She's
Yeah,
trying
good
to
for
find
her.
Because I mean, you have your initial reaction to the person, but you don't know them. It'd be like an arranged marriage, like
Right.
Because there are some people
Although
that are
there
okay
must
with
be
that, and others that
chemistry.
aren't.
You know, if they had chemistry before, you would think that there
Well,
might be
an
something
alternate version of you, but not you.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because I think all you're thinking about is like as much you're thinking about, I'm from another timeline. You're not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to have my sister. I think you're thinking that constantly. Even if the
Yeah.
guy's
Yeah.
really cool and stuff, you can't help but think like, wait a minute, this isn't how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't want to trade my sister for you, kind
Yeah.
of a thing.
Well,
Unless you're really hot.
And the fact
He's a good-looking dude.
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's not lie.
It's just, but I also see it from her perspective. She's
Yeah.
known her sister all her life, and then
Yeah.
this random dude just shows up. Even
It's just a stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
now I think it's been since what, episode 3 maybe was the last that we saw the fiance. I think
It's been a
so.
little while.
And
Yeah,
this
it's
is
been a-
episode
it's been a
9.
while.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it
Well,
affects so
'cause
much
she's
more. It's
like-
like, oh yeah, that's right, he is around.
Remember though, she said she's like, I'm gonna live with my mother and
She's
stuff. So
taking
some
this
time
was
off.
her time to be like, all right, let's try.
That seemed really
But
good.
I'm glad that she did that though.
But it wasn't working very well. Huh? It was
Crash
kinda
and
No,
burn.
Yeah.
I mean,
is bad.
I mean, because
Stilted.
but I also feel from his perspective because
Yeah.
he's been seeing this a version of Lucy where they're very affectionate, they fell in love, like it goes through the whole 9 yards, and the fact that she's like jumping to like be away from him, that must be so surreal to him.
Yeah,
to think about.
certainly from his perspective, I
Yeah,
mean, it's
it
Lucy that no
sucks.
longer exists as well because
Yeah.
this is
Yeah, it's a different one.
Yeah. So Lucy's just trying to figure out what to do with that. As I do like how the fiance says, I don't want a job interview. I just want to know if we're
That-
engaged
yeah.
or not.
No,
Yeah.
smart.
And then now we start seeing a little bit of Agent Christopher getting a little bit more play in the episode.
I like that.
Yes.
I'm so happy that she's getting more
Yay.
camera time.
Yes.
I'm like, get it,
Because
girl.
before she was very like cookie cutter, no information, one-dimensional character like Yawn.
They're giving
But
depth to it.
yeah, now
Yeah.
like
Now
she's
she's
a
got a
daughter.
kid. Or yeah.
She was a cop. I liked her line though. She's like, I'm not gonna say how long ago, but
I
was
know. I love how she's still trying to be, very feminine about it. Like, you don't need to know how old I am, but know that I mean business.
Ah.
It's adorable.
That's
Because
fine.
I think the nice thing is like Rittenhouse seems like such a big conspiracy. We don't know exactly how far wide it reaches, but it seems like they're got fingers in everything.
It's
Yeah.
seeming
So
more
it's
and
nice-
more like a secret society.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
nice to
Yeah.
them. It doesn't feel like it's so much the three of them against the world. If they're willing, at least, and now we see Rufus at least trying to make that attempt with Agent Christopher. But
Yeah.
if they finally, we can hope that they can have somebody back in the present.
I think they
that's
feel
looking out
like
for
they
them
can
as well,
trust
too.
her, but now you've got this situation where if we tell her too much, we could be putting her in danger.
Well, Rufus warned her, and she said sure. I just
I mean,
wonder
he's-
if for later if Rufus will tell the other two, be like, by the way, she approached me, I told her, so we can talk to her now.
I think the team's learned like if they keep things from each other, that's only bad.
Yeah,
so I think
He's like, guys, guess what?
yeah.
What's interesting is the way that Rufus was explaining it to her sounded a lot like the way that Mason had explained things to Rufus.
Well, no, but it makes sense.
Yeah,
though,
it sounded like
because-
it was threats,
Yeah.
but it was really, hey, I'm looking
Yeah.
out for you.
But I like that he put that in the end where he's like, no, I would be the last person to threaten you. I'm warning you. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what's happening. Why in the
But
world would
even
Rufus
when he
be
said
like,
that, I would have thought that kind of still sounds like a threat.
But,
you know, but,
like
yeah.
the last, but as he said
He
that
made
he's
it
the
clear,
last
yeah.
person, like it makes sense. Like I can understand maybe Wyatt maybe doing it, or even Lucy to a point. But Rufus seems like the person where he's like, I'm genuinely really afraid for you. Please don't do it. I don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah.
And we especially start to see with Agent Christopher, we see a little bit of her life outside of just what she does for her job, talking on the phone with her daughter. So we start seeing, we feel like things that can be used against her if she continues to pursue
But
this
what person in
investigation.
her position could say anything else other than tell me? You know, you wouldn't back down. Oh, I'm scared. Don't tell me.
No, they could have been like, all right, fine, we'll talk about it later or something. They could have put it on hold.
Yeah, I
But
suppose
she's
so.
that cop that she's like,
Right.
no, tell me.
I mean,
And like,
yeah.
she means business.
Yeah,
You know? It's like,
exactly.
I want to know.
But that's jumping towards the end. Back at the beginning of the episode, though, the team has kind of agreed that they're going to be kind of keep Agent Christopher at her distance. So
Yes.
they're not really telling her they know any more information about Rittenhouse other than what little bits and pieces that they've told her initially. And they know that the crux of this, though, is that Flynn has got a picture of a key. They found that in some of his belongings when they raided his area. And there's a note saying that there's a Rittenhouse key from the McElroy Bank and Trust. So they figure like that must be what Flynn's going back to 1934. Yeah, so off they go, guys.
Yep.
And what I do like is when they pull it back up in 1934, they're just used to like stealing cars.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that they brought that up too. She's like, we should just be car thieves now.
They're pretty much like Bonnie and Clyde, right? They were kind of setting that up.
Wyatt made a
right?
good point of, well, then they should stop leaving their keys in the car.
You got a point.
I
You
love
got a
how she
point.
was just like, okay, yeah, all right.
Touche.
okay.
Yeah, she's like touche, but also stop
Yes.
it.
and I do like
I'm
how
just teaching them a lesson.
Yeah.
I do like how they're all working together as a team where they say, turn off the recorder. All right, let's talk a little bit. All right, turn back the recorder.
Yes.
We'll continue on with the
I'm
mission.
glad that we got through that. I'm really glad that we didn't have like 2 or 3 episodes of
that
awkwardness
would've
because
been
I
so
think that would
annoying.
have been too much.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think we all loved, and the chat was talking about how Wyatt and Lucy were shipping Gia and Rufus.
Oh, I know. I love how they were so excited
like,
that they got
but
together.
Lucy
it
is
happened.
cute.
It happened.
Yeah, Lucy's like, wait,
Oh,
what?
yeah.
Okay,
Well, because
yay!
I'm assuming that she probably just goes home right away. Maybe
Yeah.
Wyatt wants to
Well,
hang out a
Wyatt's
little
probably
bit.
more observant.
Oh, well, yeah.
That too.
And the girls were over here going, oh,
I'm just happy that they're gushing about it like normal
Yeah, it
friends
was cute.
would. Like,
just
oh,
like
what,
you
what?
did.
Yeah.
Man, we got to see Rufus get a little love before they head back into the lifeboat. Get a little
yeah.
smoochie.
Yeah, honestly, I love this.
I love how she was
Rufus.
like,
I love
happening?
Rufus is getting all this airtime. I think his character development
Well,
is
and then
phenomenal.
Agent Christopher totally cockboxed him. I'm like, okay, guys, let's be adults and get moving on.
It's true. I was like,
It's like, oh.
excuse you. He could die at any moment in time.
Yeah.
Give them at least
Let him
one
have his
puckaroo.
kiss.
Speaking
Jeez.
of dying, like I was surprised that Wyatt and Lucy use their real names until I remembered that these two are just going to die the next day. Right? So why
That
not
too.
use their real names
Yeah.
when they were talking to Bonnie and Clyde?
Yeah.
I also think if they made up some really like
Wyatt's a pretty good
cockamamie like
bad
looking
name.
name, it would have been like
wouldn't
Yeah,
have flown.
they're just
'Cause-
not good at lying.
yeah. Because
Wyatt sounds like a criminal though, doesn't it?
No. I think it's just that because Wyatt is always on edge, because that's just how his character is. He's
Yes.
always kind of making sure that everything goes kind of to plan. That he gives off this whole like, I don't know what I'm saying. Don't mind me. I'm trying to assess you right now. Like it seems like he's always in his own head.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why Clyde was able to be like, huh, okay, this is weird. And so,
Though, do you think Clyde looked kind of psychopathy? Because somebody in
Guys,
the chat was like, he looked a little.
Bonnie and Clyde have killed
Lots of people.
lots
right?
of people.
How many people
in
did
the
they kill?
robberies.
Okay, because that was the other thing too
No.
in the chat. People were not sure,
No,
confirming if they had or hadn't.
It doesn't say specifically how many people they've killed because I can't read all of it right now. But they've killed like several cops in robberies and things like that. There have been several bystanders, but they usually try not to kill bystanders.
Yeah.
But cops, they don't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that
Well, they seem very anti-establishment. Like we're getting the bank's
Right,
money,
not
not
yours.
yours.
Yeah.
So cops, they would be like, man. So
no, their whole elite.
Cop
Yeah,
they're a
from
little
what-
loopy. Let's
No,
go for
no,
that. Both
no,
of them. Yeah.
no. I mean the fact that they're in this
They want to rob
business.
banks.
Yeah. And
Something-
they don't care who gets in the way
Yeah.
to
No.
a point. Yeah.
So with they, although we're talking a lot about Bonnie and Clyde, the team does not know that that's who they're looking for at the beginning of the episode. They know that somebody's wearing that key, but they don't have a bigger picture of it to understand the context of who may be wearing that key. When they get to the bank and do a little, I do like Lucy talking to the bank manager and say, "Hey, I'd like to talk about opening an account. Do you have a permission of your dad or is your husband around?" Like,
But it made sense though. In that time,
1934,
it must have been so strange for that banker to be like, "Oh, you want to open it?"
Oh, you got a job, you little thing.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, like
But she could have been a single mom. We don't know.
But I don't think even single moms are allowed to
1934. You had to find some man to help
like
you.
that's why he said father.
Yeah.
So like if your dad was still alive, then sure.
There you
But
go.
at that point, I don't think most single moms would be able to do much.
Wow.
Yeah.
But then who shows up to interrupt before we can get into the
Oh,
heat of that
so
discussion?
happy.
Yeah, Bonnie and Clyde storm that bank and go to rob it.
Yeah.
And they realize that, oh my gosh, Bonnie's got the key around her neck.
Yeah. And Lucy had a fangirl moment. She's like, Bonnie and Clyde.
Yes.
Yeah, I would be the same
What
way.
did
I'd
you
be
say?
like, please don't kill me.
It's like, you heard us. You heard of us?
She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not good enough, though, because the cops have shown up outside. They're going to storm the place, and history did not unfold that way. But we do see, along with the cops, Flynn is with him as well. So
Yeah.
Rufus
Okay.
sees all this going
Dun,
down and
dun, dun.
realizes,
It wasn't that many people. I mean, still a double digit, but it's not
How many
as
did kill?
much. 13.
Only 13 people.
that's
not that bad.
According to FBI, Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow killed at least 13 people. They did not face trial for any murder charges because they were killed in an ambush conducted by the police officers on May 23rd, 1934.
Okay.
So, I mean, but still, it's 13 people that probably didn't need to die.
Right, yeah.
But yes,
They
there
just
was-
added to zero that for how many bullets to come with?
Yeah.
130.
Well, no,
That's a
I mean,
lot.
no, these cops are like, you killed our brothers in arms, you're going to die. And also, I don't think they really cared about bullet count at that point. They were just kind of firing.
They just took double tap to an extreme
oh,
new
yes.
level.
Yes, that's,
Yeah.
I
Double
still
tap.
Want to make sure.
Yeah,
What's
no.
that?
Double tap?
Wait, for
Yeah.
reals?
So,
For
like,
reals.
for like,
Okay,
double
it's
tap.
like, yes,
Thanks, Jen.
it is.
So
I always do things
if
like
you've
that.
ever watched Zombieland or any type of like zombie sci-fi kind of thing, anytime that a zombie's coming up to you, you always double tap, so 2 shots.
Okay.
Just to make sure that's dead. Or
And
if
it
you
can
Like I
apply
played
to,
House of the Dead, where you
like
got to shoot them like 6
anything
times in
too,
the head.
where there's a bad guy, and
Yes.
it's like you shoot them once, you should make sure to get
You
them
go
a
back
second
and you get
time.
them one more time.
John Wick is an excellent movie
Oh,
where
yes.
he
He
kills
double taps
and
every time.
Every time, because it's
Every
every
time.
movie. How many times is it like the hero shoots a bad guy and then they get right up? It's like
You
double
gotta
tap.
shoot
So
'em
the
one more time.
first
Double
the first
tap.
introduction
Got it.
was
Where it
Zombieland,
was
but
like
John
a-
Wick
where it
was
said it.
so
Now, has a new John Wick
great.
come out yet?
No,
it's coming out
no.
soon.
Got it.
Yeah, you
I'm
got, we got several months before that. I was about to ask that.
It's like January, February, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
we have a little gunplay
anyways.
in this scene as well, because as
Yeah.
as Clyde and Wyatt leave the bank, we got the cops and Flynn shooting at them as well. Rufus does warn Wyatt and Lucy, though, that it's going to go down. So they decide, since they're conveniently stuck in a car next to Bonnie and Clyde, like, hey, why don't we just say we're along for the ride with them? And to say, hey, you know, we're robbing banks too. Hey, we've got a car across the street.
Yeah,
Come
they
with
thought
us.
that was a little suspicious, but
Well, yeah, because I mean, again, the
same
good-
bank,
the
same
good thing-
time.
The good thing about these two, they actually were very smart.
right.
Like, that's just, I mean, clearly because of the fact that they can rob banks and not.
They're shooting at the same
usually get
people.
caught. Yeah, like they can assess what's happening. But I also
and
like
Lucy
that.
knew the history too.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that moment. They're like, "Who are they?" Well, they're shooting in the right direction, so that's all good. I was like, "That's
Her character was awesome. That actress was.
great."
No, yeah, well, because
Phenomenal.
Clyde was 25 years old, Bonnie was 23. I feel like she had that kind of 23-year-old kind of
Kinda,
aspect of like, woo, everything's
who
great.
cares, yeah.
you know, yeah, I loved seeing that she was more open about everything, and Clyde was just kind of like, I'm just gonna sit here and watch you because I feel like something's awry. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting. I like that she knew that there were 2 instances of bank robberies where
Yes.
That was cool. That backstory
that
helped
they
her,
were blamed
she
for,
knew.
but
Yeah.
they didn't do it. So there might have been actually a higher kill count because of that, but
Yeah.
for actual record, they've only killed 13.
Yeah, historian was a good thing to have along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Lucy, you're valuable.
There you go.
She's always
Just
been
like
valuable.
Alexis.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Oh,
guys.
just like Alexis. Yeah, you're like
I try.
you're like our Lucy, our historian.
I try.
And we also, I also like that the team has made up a plan, though. If they ever get split up, always meet back at the lifeboat.
Rufus was like, what the hell?
I know. For as much as like
true.
Wyatt says, we've got that team. He was really irritated. Like, what's
Yeah.
going on? And
I
then we
don't
get a
think
little.
Rufus knew about that, to be
Yeah,
honest.
but we
I
have a
think he
plan.
was just like,
It's like,
Rufus,
"Plan?
you gotta
What?"
bury me in a tube, right?
Yeah.
Dig me up.
Oh.
terrible.
And of course, the plan is, hey, we're gonna hang out with them at the house. We hear about their love story, a little bit how Bonnie and Clyde met, and then they want to,
Yeah.
of course, know how Lucy and Wyatt met. And Lucy, of course, never the great improviser, kind of little stumbles.
Yeah, she's not a good improviser.
No.
Well, no, we knew
Or
that.
liar.
Like, remember when she was like, "I'm a medicine woman"? I was like, "Please don't let this woman try to make up a proposal. It's gonna be terrible."
No.
Because like it doesn't matter who you are. You can't fake a proposal because that's
Well, two
That was a
truths
smart-
and a lie. It's
yeah.
the best that Wyatt did it. Of I'm
Yeah,
telling
the
you
best
the
way to
truth.
lie is
It's
to
just,
use the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You apply it to something else, and then because
Yeah.
you're telling it with honesty, it's just the other person's
Not
interpreting
about
it
her.
differently.
Yep.
What I liked about that scene is like clearly I think everybody knew what that was, and I feel like the writers weren't sure that the audience would know that, so they felt like they needed just to make sure. Lucy asked the question when they're laying in bed next together. Was that story that was about you and your wife, wasn't it?
Oh, did she ask the question? I missed
yes.
that.
Yeah,
of
she
course we
did.
know it was. What do you think,
Yeah.
guys?
I
Come on.
just tuned it out. I was like, that didn't happen. We're just gonna keep moving on. It's fine.
It was
That was
bad,
kind of
it's
like idiot proof,
clearly-
right? The-
Well, I mean,
yeah.
like, I get it. I just, I'm not saying that the writers
Yeah.
are treating the viewers as like, okay, I hope that you caught that, so let's go back and rewind. Like, it was just like just a tiny little poke at like, oh man, that was so beautiful. That was your wife, right? No, that was some random broad. I
It
just
could
took
just
her up
be-
to this hill and told her I wanted to marry her.
It
Yeah,
could just
of
be
course,
tying
yeah.
it back into the story.
Yeah, it's
Like,
fine.
yeah.
It's fine.
Now, also somebody I felt like that wasn't that good at trying to be subtle though was Mason, because he's in the present with Agent Christopher, and I felt like this is the episode like all of a sudden he's like really laying it on heavy, like
And
hey,
he-
you know, if you
Yeah.
need any help,
Yeah,
just let me
it was
know.
weird for his character to kind of
Yeah.
be like, hey,
Yeah.
Agent Christopher Clyde, how's it going? I was like, what's happening? You're like never talking.
Yeah,
These
although
episodes.
she was, I mean, the guy from Rittenhouse did threaten her and say that we'll take care of her unless she stops. So he may be really feeling the pressure.
To Mason.
Yeah.
To Mason,
No,
yeah.
no, I know. It just felt a
But
little
it
bit
did
more
feel,
forced.
Yes.
very
Yeah.
forced.
Yeah, this time around.
Which I think again doesn't like do him any favors with Agent Christopher. It's like okay, what's with the hardcore press?
But it was a
Something's
great
up.
plot reveal for us that there's something that kind of turned a corner in this episode that I got where it's like, okay, now we see where each party is kind of laid out. You know, we got Agent Christopher over here. She doesn't really know about Rittenhouse. She's investigating it. We didn't know all this stuff before. We've got Mason who knows about Rittenhouse and he's trying to hide Rittenhouse, and Rittenhouse will come in. You know, it just laid everything out clear.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be really curious to hear more about Mason's backstory and just to figure out like how much of it is he under the.
Well, and
The
that's- and that-
bankruptcy. That
Yes.
was super
2.4
interesting.
billion injected by Rittenhouse. So now we know that the Time Project was
think it's
funded by them. 2.5?
Yes.
Yeah, 2.5.
Chris was tweeting.
I must have been tweeting.
Yes.
It was a lot of money.
I tweeted away that point
Okay.
billion.
While this is all going down, our boy Rufus, though, he gets picked up by the authorities after the shooting and is being interrogated by them.
Oh.
A great scene with Rufus. I like that scene where
was
he's like, man,
fantastic.
how's this going to get any worse? And then Flynn walks in
Yeah,
the room.
he's like,
I like
I'm out.
immediately looks at him and I was like,
You knew something was going to come, and then it was
Yeah,
kind
you always get the crappy end of the stick, bro. Like, it sucks. I love how he was just like, I shouldn't have opened my big damn mouth. I just damn big mouth, and I just thought it was so funny.
You know what I'm really appreciating too is that like in the beginning we thought that they were going to just. He said there's almost no time in history where it's going to be easy for me because he's a black man going back
Yeah.
through history, but they haven't relied on that too much. They haven't overplayed their hand with that. They've been able to play Lucy as being a female back through history, so the black thing didn't get overdone. He's got a nice meaty role that has to do things with things other than race. It's pretty cool. They've
But
done
they
a good
did have
job
that
of
nice moment here this episode where there's, you know.
Yeah, the drinking fountain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
They
the
slipped
thing
that
is,
in there,
it
which was
started.
interesting.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
started off so heavy in the beginning.
Right.
They've now made it more. It's just part of the world,
part of
which
it,
is
but,
better. Because I think we all talked at the beginning, and we're like, okay, if they do it's a woman thing or it's a black thing, for the whole time we're all gonna be like,
I
wah,
mean,
wah.
at this point, it's just kind of part of it.
But now it is, and it's a much better ease of transition into it because it's just like we see the drinking fountain, or just how the cops dealt with him, and how he'd used a big word, and they were like, "Oh my
Right.
goodness, look at you as a
Professor.
yeah." And I think the show's done a better job of addressing things that would be an issue at that time without being like,
Without
"Here's the
hammering
issue,"
it, right.
and you're like, "Oh."
Yeah.
So
One of the part I liked about the scene, and we've talked about this a little bit in the Alamo, where Flynn is trying to make history do what he wants because he thinks he knows
Yeah.
knows how everything's supposed to unfold.
Yeah.
and it doesn't quite go the way he wants. He can't.
Nope.
Not everybody's just like a piece that he can just move exactly how he wants. So when he tells Frank, "Hey, just give me some time alone with him. I'll get him to talk." He's like, "Hey, listen, I'm not going to let you go to this guy. You think
was
I
good.
stood up to 2,000 people. You think I'm scared of you?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Man, I like that Flynn can't always get exactly what he wants
Yes.
all the time."
And what-
So happy that happened
What a great
multiple times
line! What a
this
great
episode.
character for is it Hammer, the guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that? I wonder if that's a true thing. If anybody out there knows that that's a true thing, that he stood up to the people that wanted to lynch the man in prison.
I'm sure that
If you
that
know,
story,
let us know.
That's so
Seemed very true.
specific. I bet it is.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon.
I reckon.
Let us know. Let us know.
I reckon. Oh, yeah, sure.
So then we do have Lucy and Wyatt laying in bed after, because they think, hey, guess what? Bonnie and Clyde have drank so much they're going to pass out. We'll be able to get out that necklace off while they sleep.
I love how when they poured her hooch, I thought she was just gonna down it and it was gonna be all fine. But I love how she tried it and she's like, it wasn't even like it wasn't, you know how like in movies where it's like kind of like, oh, it burns. Like she like spat it. Like I love that because it was genuine. Because hooch back then is nothing like the stuff.
But when
we
Wyatt
have now.
said we spit it on hooch, it sounded so corny and cheesy. I
because
thought,
he
oh
thought
shit.
he thought it off the top of his head, and
Right.
that's why I was like, oh, red flag number one. You messed up there.
But then when they went back to use the term again, it was like, okay, it was kind of
$25,000 on hooch.
hooch.
And
And I was like, that's a lot.
25,000 is a lot now. It was way a lot back then.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's like,
You could have
could
said
have
a lot
said
of things.
something
You
else.
could have been like, we traveled, we
Yeah,
we spent
exactly.
it on
or
a house.
we buried it even.
Yeah.
Like, we
Well, no,
gotta
'cause
go get it.
I'm scared that
Was
he
it-
would have been like, tell us where it is.
So in 1934, it was illegal, right? Was it moonshine?
Would it be moonshine at that time?
I
too?
think so.
And Prohibition was
Prohibition?
still in effect, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like the right time frame, doesn't
I
it?
don't remember.
I don't know. I just know that Bonnie and Clyde were big in the Great Depression. So whenever that, I'm
I'm
assuming that's
thinking that's
Prohibition.
probably the right
Yeah.
time frame.
And we do learn as they, before they hit the bed, though, they do find a little bit more backstory about the key. And then it was Henry
Yes.
Ford's, one of his safes. And I do like that. Clyde was such a huge fan of his that he wrote him a letter that he
He
framed.
made automobiles.
If
He
I
writes him a
steal
letter.
a car, it's your car, sir. I love your automobiles.
But then he's such a fan that he breaks in and blows the safe open.
Yeah.
And then I like that they said Ford framed it. I want to know if that's real, because that sounds like
I
a
bet you
random
that
piece of
is
history.
real.
See, the
Yeah.
funny thing
Stranger
is-
than fiction.
I mean, I haven't heard anything about it, but I wouldn't doubt it. That
Yeah.
was one of the things. Because I know, like I said, on like a couple things, they only listed like the 3 main ones. Like the first one they did, there was like a middle one where someone got hurt, and then the main one that just it was large, but it wasn't Henry Ford. So. I mean, I would love if that actually happened. I would not doubt that.
if
though.
Clyde
It
wrote a
sounds-
letter to Ford.
That's kind of like where the
Funny.
truth is
Yeah,
stranger than
internet.
fiction.
Yep.
We do find out on the key, though, that there's Latin written on the key. And it translates to the key is the beginning of time and the key to the end of time.
Oh wait, that might be actually true. Holy crap!
So, thank you, chat room. Someone just said story
true.
of the Ranger Hammer told Rufus is true, and they found it online somewhere. Thank
Nice.
you.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you, Justin.
How about Ford? How about the letter?
No,
in
I'm
Ford?
looking it up right
Yeah.
now. Yes, from 1932 until wait, nope, that's about Bonnie and
What?
Clyde. Well, I don't know. The letter's right there. I'm reading it right now.
Yay!
While I still have got breath in my lungs. No, like they actually like the lines that
Yeah,
she
that's
said.
the real
that's the real
script.
letter.
That's
There it is. It's
fantastic.
right there.
I figured
I'd
these
put it
guys.
up on my wall too, wouldn't you? That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, word for word. Yeah. While I still got breath in my lungs, I will tell you what a dandy car you make. I have drove Fords exclusively when I could get away with one. For sustained speed and freedom from trouble, the Ford has got ever other car skinned, and even in my business, hasn't been strictly legal. It doesn't hurt anything with an E, not an A, to tell you what a fine car you got in that V8. Yours truly, Clyde Champion Barrow.
That's actually really cool.
That's
go,
awesome.
yeah.
And it says
That's
Dear
funny.
Sarah on the top of it.
That's funny.
You
Yeah.
know?
Could you imagine getting something like that?
I would frame it.
I
I
don't
would
know
totally
what the
frame it.
I don't know what the equivalent would be here now. Like if Jeffrey Dahmer had sent me a letter like that, I don't think I'd put it on my
Oh,
wall.
no, that's a
Whoa,
totally
that's
different
a totally different thing.
thing.
Well,
No,
thank
no,
you, James.
people-
Imagine if that like came in your glove box when you bought a new car. It was just like, oh, there's your instruction manual and a letter from.
Letter from Clyde.
Wow. Yeah.
I would be totally fine
It's a
with that.
testimonial letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ford, tough.
Oh, so great. You can steal, you can, do
Um,
bank robberies with it.
Back to the alcohol thing real quick too. I like that someone pointed out in the chat, and it was amusing that not only did Lucy, choke on the first sip, but after the kiss, I need some
How easy it
alcohol.
went down.
And then she was
It was
able to
like,
just
whoa.
take that last shot. She was like, and we're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of that kiss, though,
Let's talk
we
about
saw,
that kiss.
yeah,
Okay, I
Carrie
know
and Alexis
Ivan-
got excited.
Ivan in the
Yeah.
chat. must have been losing his mind because I know he's been shipping
Yes.
Wyatt and Lucy for a long time. So that kiss, you must have exploded, Sarah, and that's great. But like,
What about you, Alexis? Were you exploding?
I was just kind of like, okay, we did it.
You guys are jumping up and down.
Move on. That was so cute.
I was
I'm gonna
jealous.
Go gag now. Let's go.
I was jealous.
I like the kiss, but it was the after where they both go, that was actually better than I expected faces.
Yeah, I wasn't
That's
expecting
what
that.
I liked.
It's a pretty good kiss.
I wasn't expecting that. Well, because I think they also weren't expecting it because she was surprised. He just kind of did it, and then he was like, oh, that was nice. And also,
Yeah, they both were like, oh, okay.
I'm also assuming that, like, because he lost his wife, he probably hasn't kissed
Probably
another
kissed
female
in a while.
anyway, and he had to make it real, so
Yeah.
he probably had to, he was missing his wife, there was emotions there, so he was probably like, oh, hello.
He just went in and grabbed it. I was jealous. I was jealous because I've had a crush on Wyatt. No, just kidding. I've had a crush on Abigail.
No, I think everybody
Does
on
everybody
this
know
panel
that?
and everybody
Yeah.
on the internet knows that.
Oh, have I
And-
already made that clear? Okay, whatever.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. She's
I
a
think that
gorgeous woman.
Good job on both of the actors' parts for showing the subtlety of the facial reaction after.
Yeah, 'cause it wasn't
because
like,
they didn't say anything, but
"Oh my
we got
God."
enough out of that of like, oh, you know.
I was like, all right,
Yeah.
get it, buddy.
And they do have a nice little conversation in that really tiny bed.
oh, that was a very
that
tiny
bed was so tiny.
and with a curtain between them and Bonnie and Clyde
Yeah.
getting it
And their
out.
arms, did you
wall.
notice the arms? They were like the discomfort with the arms. She put hers
Well,
up and
he
then
had
he
it,
put
and
his
then
up.
she was
and
trying to,
Yeah.
Wait, it was a curtain? I thought it was a wall.
I thought it was a curtain.
Oh, I have no idea. I thought there was at least a wall.
Did you
in
feel it was a
between them.
wall or?
I did a transition shot between the two, but I wasn't sure if it was. I assumed it was a wall.
Yeah,
But
because that'd be weird if it was a curtain.
I know, but
'Cause
that's
they
what,
were
but
in a
then,
house.
But they sounded
True.
like they were listening right next to them. Okay, here's my thought on it too.
No,
Is
go for
those
it.
are the old-fashioned like two single beds
Yeah,
where you would have
so-
had each couple, the separate person separate.
Yeah.
And so this time they're together and they just put a curtain between them because they could hear them so well.
Yeah.
And it also is a funny reference. Actually, I just saw this right now. They had the TV movie marquee that it happened one night, and that's a thing it happened one night
no,
too.
and that's what I was
So.
thinking because I thought they were going to be in separate rooms with two
Because you
separate
could
beds
hear
in each.
them so well. That was my other
No,
reason that
no.
they're
I just assumed because Bonnie and Clyde don't look like the type to be in separate beds that they would just have a separate room built in. But I mean, I don't know whose cabin this is.
Exactly, it might not
So,
even.
like, I have
it's
no
just
idea.
in
But
their
no,
house.
my brain was
Which-
thinking if it's a transition, it's a wall.
They wouldn't mind making noise next.
You know-
to
you
somebody.
know
They
what?
don't give a crap.
Yeah.
They're like,
they
oh yeah,
were-
you're gonna listen to our love.
Then I
Listen
think
to
they
it.
would have done. Okay, now we're getting real specific on it. But then I
Go
would
for it.
think
Let's do this.
sound effect would have been different, of more like them hearing the bed squeak. Like, you know, in most movies or shows, it's the ceiling above or the room next door. You mainly hear the bed squeak or the person's noises. This one felt like, oh, I can hear them snore right next to me, or I can hear them make
Yeah.
another
Well, it
making
depends
noises.
on what they were doing.
I mean, we
This-
couldn't.
I don't know,
I'm assuming
yeah.
there was a lot of stuff we just didn't have time to put all the noises in there because we're trying to listen to dialogue.
You know.
So they could have been like, let's just turn this down a little bit, listen
Yeah.
to Lucy and Wyatt, and then turn it
Okay,
right back
there you
up.
guys go.
I know.
Editing technique and how they filmed it and sound effects. Leave a comment.
There you go.
Was it two separate rooms or was there just a curtain
No,
between them?
according to Cunningham,
Hmm?
nice.
Cunningham.
It was a curtain or was curtains. So I'm like, hey, I mean,
Okay.
I have no idea. I just assumed it was a wall.
You know what I thought was really dumb was that Wyatt went in there with a knife for the necklace.
Oh, to
Why
lift the
hell
necklace
would
off?
you
Yeah,
do
because
that?
it's I'm.
Well, he was trying to do it without using his fingers.
Yeah, but then it looks
'Cause then
like
the
you've
heat-
got
Yeah,
a
but
knife
then you're
at her
like,
throat.
I got a knife.
Oh no,
She wakes up.
that's not a smart decision. I'm just saying that
No,
he
I
did it 'cause
understand
he
too.
was
It's
like,
a way to like pry
he's like,
it
I
out.
don't have a pen, so
No.
I'm gonna try and use a slender, sharp
Yes.
object.
That's not how you want to wake them up.
Well, no, because that's what I was thinking of. Was if she jerks forward, that's it.
Right.
She's
Yeah.
dead. She's got a blade in the neck.
Or
it's
if
terrible.
her man wakes up and he's
Also,
got a
he
knife
had
to her
but
neck.
he also
it's-
did, I don't know if you guys noticed it. Clyde
He
was
had a
holding a
gun.
gun in
Yeah.
bed.
Yeah.
So in my brain, I was like, "You're really close to the barrel." Like, can
Right?
you not? Whatever. I'm just gonna be like,
You'd think you'd take the gun 1st and then the key.
no. Then he would have woke up Clyde because I'm
Yeah.
assuming Clyde, because they're bank robbers, he's probably not fully asleep.
Yeah, I just, but I
No,
yeah.
it wasn't. Trust me, it wasn't a good idea. I just don't think he thought anything else would work.
Yeah.
But as they get woken up though, because they hear somebody coming in, he gets a nice cover. So I thought I heard something. I thought I
Yeah,
heard
but he's
something.
got a knife at her throat.
Still doesn't doesn't cover
Yeah, I know, it was terrible.
Nothing covers that.
So in my brain, I was thinking, okay, Wyatt was probably going, I was trying to wake you up. I just had this knife
knife
with
at her
me,
throat,
so
yeah.
just don't mind this part. I was using this to find out what was happening, so I
You
came to
see
wake
nothing.
you up. Yeah.
This is not the knife you're looking
Yeah,
at.
like I was thinking of like my mom because there was one time where she heard something, so she grabbed the bat and then woke us up. But it
Yeah.
freaked me out because I just see a shadow with a bat holding over me, and I'm like, ah! And I like tried to kick it, and she's like, it's me, stop! I was just trying to see. If
They
there's
stopped
anything
waking me
wrong."
up because I punch first, wake up second.
Yeah, no,
It's like the Wolverine thing. Wake him up
Yeah.
and it's dangerous. You know?
Yeah, no, and well, she was dumb. She was like, I'm
Did
gonna
you just say
stand
I'm
right
like
over you.
Wolverine?
No.
Oh,
I just said it because
I thought you. That's what it sounded like.
I've had it twice where I was trying to wake someone
Sounded
up and I
like
got
you
hit in the face.
Calling me like Wolverine.
And so I've learned you gotta be
It must have been my abs or something.
No, sir.
Holy cow. So Henry shows up, the guy who sold them out, and is trying to talk to Bonnie and Clyde, wants to keep Lucy and Wyatt out of the conversation, which is
Yeah.
okay because Rufus also has found out where they're located and knows that Flynn and the cops are coming. So
Right now.
yes, and so
Yeah.
we got to go. Do you have
Stupid
the
Henry.
necklace? Nope, we
Yeah.
know where the necklace is, but it's still on Bonnie's neck, so we still need to go back and get it.
Rufus got there pretty quickly. I mean, even
Well,
though
so
he
did
walked
Henry.
out first, I know, but they knew where they were going.
No,
Rufus-
he followed Henry.
Oh, Rufus followed him?
Yeah, because Henry got there first, and then Rufus tapped on the window. So I'm assuming he got another
Followed him.
car,
Yeah.
followed him, and then
Because they didn't have Uber.
no.
That's right.
Take an Uber.
Okay. And
Someone should just keep tally of all of Chris's jokes. I just want to see how many we
Other
get in an
jokes?
episode. Yeah.
That's what they're called.
Yes, correct. Thank you.
Okay.
That button's gonna be broken at the end of this
stay
episode.
relevant in the conversation.
so, of course.
The conversation.
So of course now we have a standoff between Bonnie and Clyde and Lucy and Wyatt. Henry's trying to
Yeah.
convince them that they're the ones that sold them out, and Rufus is trying to explain that nope, it's Henry. He's the
Yeah.
one that ratted him out. And I do like that moment that Rufus finally pulls out the recorder, shows it like nope, this is Henry's conversation, just like you hear in the talkies. This
Good
is
way
what
to
it's for.
explain it to them. Like, what is it?
Just like in the talkies.
It's glowing, and they're like, look.
It's like the talkies. Oh, okay. That's
And I was
Okay,
so
like
we
in
just,
the talkies.
so we're just like Jedi minding tricked like people,
Yeah.
or just like, this is a talkie, yes. And they're like, yeah, all right, that makes sense.
So
I'm
it was
like,
Rittenhouse that saved the day
It
there.
glows.
well, they need something, and that's something they can identify with. So then they're like, okay, sure. Like it sounds a lot like you, and then boom, dead.
I love that. They're just like, oh, that sounds a lot like you, Henry. And he's like, oh, it's a lie, and just
It's a lie.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
But they do buy their story, and so they kill Henry, and then the cops attack. Bonnie and Clyde they take off. Lucy and Wyatt try to make chase. Clyde gets hit. And
Several
then-
times.
Several times.
Aw.
Clyde history's
Not
changed.
130 times.
No.
oh, thank God.
Yeah.
He gets killed right there outside the cabin, and then Bonnie gets captured by Flynn, takes the necklace, and I was kind of bummed on this because I feel like every episode so far, I was like, man, I was hoping this would be an episode where the team gets a necklace and they can
No.
finally have
Yeah.
at least some kind of stake in the game, because it always feels like they're just constantly pursuing Flynn, and he's always getting something.
Yeah.
And so we never have something like I'd like the team to have something that is going to kind of disrupt Flynn's plan a little bit. So he's got to improvise a little bit, but
Well, hopefully
such
we
is not the
get it
case.
Next
I thought
episode.
Yeah.
it's one of those like I know they're gonna die, but I'm still really sad to watch.
No, it
and then
sucks.
she was like how upset Bonnie was, and then like
That's why this actress was
oh
awesome.
she was so
was
good. I was like,
fantastic. Yeah.
I'm gonna cry
ugly.
with
It
you.
wasn't even pretty.
Yeah.
Those were ugly
good.
tears. Like she
And then-
lost the love of her life.
Yeah, she's there with the body, and
I
the
bet you she
guy's
gets
like,
more
"Don't do
roles
anything
from this
stupid,"
role.
and
This is-
she's like, "Nope, I'm gonna get the gun so you shoot me, so I die with
No,
no
and I
love."
love how they were like, "Don't do anything stupid." I was like, Bonnie loves Clyde. I don't understand
Yeah.
why you thought
She's
that
not
she
gonna
wasn't
live
gonna.
without him.
No.
But the nice thing about a time travel show when they're allowed to change historical events, that you don't know exactly how it's going to play out. So even though Clyde dies,
Yeah.
you don't know, is Bonnie going to die? Is she not
Right.
going to pull
Yeah,
that
I
gun?
wonder-
that would have been scary.
would've been interesting.
That would have been interesting because I would love to see how
If she
history.
lived. Yeah.
I think she would have killed herself. Like to be
Oh,
honest.
yeah.
Like I
Or
just.
become president.
Sorry, that threw me off there for a second. But.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like because of the way that they are together, even if nobody knew who Bonnie and Clyde was besides this episode, I feel like just you doing research or finding out or even just looking at the actors, you're like, yeah, no, there's no way that she would have been able to live her life
Yeah.
without him.
No,
Would the allure of Bonnie and Clyde been as strong and carried throughout the years if, say,
No.
Bonnie had lived and killed herself in
No.
prison?
Would
years ago or
Elvis have
something?
gone on if Elvis hadn't
Yeah.
died?
Or it's Marilyn Monroe,
Marilyn
same
Monroe,
thing. Yeah,
yeah.
it's all the
I don't
iconic. But it's remember I love the Lucy's line of like, oh, it's even better than I read. Like they're
Yeah, seeing them together. No, it's great.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt. I was like, oh
Yeah.
man, if this was real, like I would love to see how they are in person. Not when they're robbing banks. Just
Yeah.
in
Just
a
hanging
normal
out in the
setting.
cabin,
Hang
drinking
out.
I
that.
don't know, like,
having shots of hooch.
would it be really attractive if you saw it in real life? If a couple
No,
of people
I
all
would be,
over
I
each
would be
other?
You're like-
gagging in the background.
You're like,
Right,
well,
exactly.
you're like yes and no.
Yeah, I was like, oh. There's a lot of up and down for me.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. But like that's because I don't like PDA. But like,
Right.
but when you really see two people that really care about each other, you're just like, oh my god, you guys are so cute. And then come back to it. It's just how it feels. So a lot of people feel like that with my fiance and I. So I totally understand.
You
know?
guys just
Yeah.
make out too much.
Right. All the
Yeah,
time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Everybody
James.
knows.
Yeah.
So our
I'm
team makes it
sorry.
back to the present, and
Yeah.
of course, again, playing coy with Agent Christopher. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Not
they got
even
the
coy.
Yeah.
Oh god, she's terrible.
That was bad.
That was really.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't know anything. No.
I'm glad that he gave it up though in the end. I think that's cool.
Oh,
like even though
Rufus?
Rufus, like
Oh,
he
yes.
had to work for it.
Yeah.
But you were before that. But yeah, they were all
I
playing
was
coy.
upset that she interrupted him during dinner. He just got back from a very intense trip. He was enduring some dumplings,
I
and
think
they were
we've
just like,
all
hey.
I think that
Rufus-
was some sushi there.
Was it sushi? It looked like it was like a weird. Maybe it was ginger. Maybe that's what it was. It was throwing me off. No, it was actual sushi. No.
Yeah. All we know is, I
Sashimi?
think, guys, we've watched the show long enough to know
Yeah.
that Rufus never gets to really enjoy anything for very long.
No. It's like I'm having dinner.
At
How'd you
least let
find
him
me?
have some food.
Yes.
He can't kiss. He can't hang out with his family. He can't do anything without something bad coming along the way.
Also, I agree with Ivan. Wyatt never loses his gun. Technically, he lost it once, but he got it back, or he just gets guns all the time. So yeah.
Speaking of Wyatt, how do you guys feel about his use of the word baby doll? As a sign of
Baby doll.
As a little, just
We
like
both
little
made a
nod to
face
Lucy.
like-
I know we were just like.
Really?
Oh,
Is
they're
that what you
awkward.
did?
Like, see you later, baby doll, and
What'd she say, sweetie?
no,
Sweetheart.
Sweetheart.
I think
She said it
she
funny.
said, no, she said
Sweetheart.
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 Yeah.
Like, you know, back
She
in
said
those,
like you do your
Yeah.
what is it? Maryland or
Not Maryland.
No,
the
it's-
other one that's also
it's like a
busty.
East
the
Coast.
life in my men, right?
Yeah, I can't
Sentimental
remember.
Mae
the-
West.
Mae West.
Mae West, thank you.
She does Mae West.
I love Mae West though. I
I
love
don't
her
know,
more than
something
Marilyn.
about it. I was like, me.
No, it was just that like let's make it really awkward. That's why I
Yeah.
was sitting there like trying not to scratch my eyes out because I was like, ah. I
And
hate
they're
it.
walking away, and Lucy's kind of thinking about it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
You
it
know.
was weird.
It was some
weird.
tension, but not a whole lot, right? It wasn't
No,
like
it was like two awkward people who like if they did sleep together on a
Right.
like a drunken night, they're like, thanks for everything, friend.
Yeah.
It was just supposed to be awkward, and they took something from the time, and they're like,
Like
baby
he
doll,
didn't need
sweetheart.
He didn't need to even be like, so about that kiss. Be like, just
You could have just left it.
leave it alone.
But no, but you know the fans needed to know.
Yeah.
They needed to have that closure, which
It
was,
was
not
only 'cause
closure.
of
you were
this,
screaming out, the
it
fans are
didn't-
gonna love this, and I said, you are the fans.
No, but that's exactly what it was. I bet you
The
ever sitting
fans
there,
have been shipping them for a while. Let's clarify.
like shaking tables and
Yeah.
table flipping. Like I was
Table
waiting for
flipping.
it. I was waiting for it.
And we end the episode with Flynn, now in possession of the key. He goes to a museum and he opens up a clock. Really cool contraption.
Oh,
Kind of
man,
opens
so
up like a puzzle
Those
box.
things really
Kind of
exist.
Oh,
it
that was
reminded
so
me
cool.
of the opening of the show, how it kind of
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's
outlines.
true.
That's what I was thinking of. I was like,
Very true. Well, it seems to contain a very important piece of paper inside. So
Yeah.
A little
I-
scroll.
getting
We
back.
didn't pause it, but I know you see something in the top real quick. Did anybody
It was
else
really
pause
hard
it?
to
What did it
see.
say? I want to know.
It was really hard to see.
Well,
the
Yeah.
I get a feeling it's
scribble.
going to lead into where we're going next episode.
Oh,
which is
absolutely.
the
Maybe it's
revolution.
a letter from George Washington?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or no,
Correct.
the
Because we
guy
are
who
Benedict
betrayed George Washington?
Yeah.
Benedict Arnold.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, folks, why don't we do a couple little speculations, a quick round of predictions before we get out of here?
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
And their predictions
Wow.
for the fall season finale.
The fall finale,
Yep,
guys.
that's it for the holidays, and then we come back hopefully.
Oh yeah,
after.
that's the next episode.
Yeah, because Christmas is in like 3 weeks, guys. Like,
Wow.
Yeah,
Do we have plans?
You mean holiday plan?
We'll discuss those off air, Chris.
Yeah, that's right.
Talk about a quick prediction for the show.
Oh, quick prediction for the show.
I
My
hope
head hurts.
Christopher hurries up and gets on the bandwagon and on the
I
same
will, I
page with everybody
promise.
else.
I
Yeah,
will.
no, I agree.
will.
Agent Christopher.
Oh,
Not everything's about
I
you.
really wish this was Hooch right now.
I'm just messing with
Yeah, that was one that I really hope that, because I liked her development with that, so I hope they keep going with that quickly. Like they've had other things develop, and like just get to it. We don't want to keep waiting. And then, yeah, that's kind of that's
No,
what
I
I
think
want.
it's a great one.
But I think the George Washington thing is going to be. So it sounds like Benedict Arnold was in Rittenhouse, huh?
Well, I guess we'll
part
find out.
Wait, that's next week, yeah.
Yeah, so my prediction is that Benedict Arnold is part of Rittenhouse, and it's some underlying secret society that's controlling everything.
All right. Alexis?
We already know that, right? All right, whatever.
Crap, I lost it.
All right.
Pretty much, I think the letter that we found in the clock is definitely from Benedict Arnold in some way, shape, and form. Maybe
very
it's the first draft of them forming Rittenhouse, even though it was kind of small, or just maybe the first act of Rittenhouse. Maybe they just wanted to journal it, and that's where that's where they kept it, which I don't know. But I'm very curious to see what Flynn does to get them either A, on his side, or B, if he's just gonna try to hurt Lucy and just say, I don't need you anymore.
Well, it does seem like they're going back to the very roots of this society. So it'd be kind of cool to see what Flynn does when he's back at the start of what this Rittenhouse thing is to become. See if he can change history.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of the Timeless After Show. But the fun doesn't stop here, folks. You can like us on Facebook. You can give us 5 stars on iTunes. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. And thanks so much for following us in the chat here. We appreciate all your feedback here and comments along the way as we broke down this episode. And if you want to continue the conversation with us even after the show's done, Chris, where can they find you?
You can find me at Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram.
And you guys can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's KaridLane.
You can find me all over social media as ATorres890. That's ATORRES890. Don't forget to check out my Twitch streams because I will start doing Overwatch when the holidays start.
There you go. Game with her. Game with her. Let her talk smack to you.
No,
It's
no,
fun
no, no.
time.
I will mostly be screaming at my controller. Not you.
And you can follow me on Twitter at @EpicoJackie. Folks, we'll see you next week for the fall finale of the Timeless After Show right here
Bye,
on
guys.
AfterBuzz.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later, sweetheart. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.